bottom of the hour, and we're reviewing Elysium today. I mean, just I can hardly even wait to get to that, right?
And Tom, in his infinite wisdom, had us muted on the YouTube stream. So those of you in the chat
Excellent.
room that are admonishing me for being stupid, I get the gold star today. So,
Hey, what'd you do, stupid?
so thank you for
Huh?
that wonderful intro that nobody heard, Nori. So if you,
Okay, so welcome everybody. So I'm gonna do the Reader's Digest version.
okay,
Welcome. We're going intergalactic. We're reviewing Elysium, and please subscribe or make a donation to L&M Radio. So, okay, that's the Reader's Digest version. So exciting, guys! I mean, I got all my hair products loaded into the replicator, the dog food. I've got all my special snacks, my Scooby snacks in there. How about you guys? You ready?
ready to rock,
Yeah.
ready to rock. You got to do as you used to say in the Navy, stow for sea. Get your stuff stowed, make any last minute checks. But the cool thing about it is, if you got working replicators, all you got to do is load all your stuff into the replicator that you might need. It's not like back in the Navy, if you were going to go out to sea for an extended period of time, if you wanted your Doritos or your favorite snacks, you better pack them along, because there was nothing that there were no replicators, so you run out of snacks, that's it.
So we'll be out there for my birthday, right? So just saying, because we're talking about stocking the replicator.
Well, we can program up a birthday cake with candles and everything else. That's going to be easy.
Wait, I thought you couldn't have lit candles in the
Well, they'll have
replicator.
the candles on it. They won't be
Okay.
lit. Yeah, we don't want
Oh,
to.
okay.
You don't want to pull it out of the replicator on fire. That wouldn't be good.
No, that would not be good.
That,
That would not be
that's
good.
probably a
Tom,
safety feature of the replicator. You don't want any flames coming coming out of a replicator.
seriously,
Yeah.
did you replicate your recreational happiness?
Oh, absolutely. Of course. I'm sure you've got it. I'm sure
Just checking.
there's probably a full catalog of different weed strains, because when you go intergalactic, you're not going to have to worry about any of that. But I think, though, that you would probably want to limit. If you're working, it'd be like any kind of work situation. I don't think you'd want to be lit up while you're trying to do serious work, especially in space where things could go bad very quickly. I don't think you really want to be on anything. Maybe on your off time, but
Well, that brings up an interesting topic, because when I was doing nursing in California, travel nursing, I often wondered how that worked, right? So if marijuana was legal, you still can't come to work stoned. I mean, you can't, can you?
well, do you go to work drunk? You
No,
go to the
I
liquor
wouldn't.
store and get as much as you want, but you don't go to work drunk.
Yeah, I
Maybe
wouldn't.
some people do. Maybe I mean, there
I
are
don't
people.
think I'd want a medical professional who was blitzed, like working on me,
No, no.
right? You'd be
Well,
in a
that's the same
you
thing.
you'd be in a critical part of the surgery, and all of a sudden they're like, somebody order a pizza.
Or they're in the middle of a very serious surgery and they go, I'm just wondering about the psychological implications here. And they start daydreaming about something.
Yeah, no,
You
don't
know,
do that. So maybe we can give what, Augie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what the rules are for. If you don't want to go to work drunk, then the same thing with the marijuana. I would think that just makes sense.
yeah.
It does make sense, and we need all our faculties where we're going. But I thought maybe we could give people a verbal tour of the ship, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love my stateroom, and I have a bathtub. Yay! So I have to have a bathtub. You
All
guys
the
know that.
amenities, right?
Exactly. I
That's
love
right.
my stateroom.
That's
Mhm.
right. Well, it really points up, I think, the need to have as much of a kind of a normal environment as possible. It's essentially a spacefaring RV. I think you'd want to be, you'd kind of get used to it. I think if you're open to that. I don't think it'd be like what I had to endure in the submarine service, because you can't see outside on a submarine. You have a self-contained environment, so that for me, I kind of got the spacecraft experience. Anybody on a submarine kind of gets the spacecraft experience, except you don't get to see outside unless you're watching it on the video from the periscope. Now, all these new
Right.
submarines, they've got beautiful video coming in off their periscopes, but unless you've got a panel or something nearby, you essentially have no windows. So, but in space, like you can see behind us in this slideshow, you're going to have some just amazing views no matter where you go, I think.
The small blue dot, right?
The
Yeah.
big blue dot, that's right.
Yeah, and you can see all the way around you, because the magnification of well, it's not just binoculars anymore. Now you have you can see details, a light year away, because it's all in the quantum, and that's where we get the information from. So we can pull up information from anywhere. So
Speaking of quantum,
things before we get there.
and speaking of quantum, we could tell people the name of our ship.
Well, go ahead.
Tom,
No, I was going to let you do it.
Oh, the Quantum Jade. We're going to be
The
aboard the
Quantum
Quantum Jade. And it's got a little bit of the little Zen going on there with the Jade. A little bit of quantum going on with the quantum, I guess. And I've got you.
Well, if you want Zen, just come to my stateroom, because it's loaded with crystals, rose quartz, amethyst, shungite. I mean, I had to bring all my crystals. So if you need a little Zen, and I've got it all feng shuied out, so the energy is really good in there. And yeah, dog beds are feng shuied. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
I'm trying to fix the green screen here because you're coming across as slightly weird, Nori. But
Yeah,
this is the
story
fun of
of my
green
life.
screens. The fun of green
Story
screens.
of my life. Welcome
If you
to my
guys are
world.
watching us on YouTube, you'll notice. Okay, now you look. All right, you're looking like a human again. That's good. All right.
Oh, that was
That's-
good.
that's always
so I
helpful.
hate, when I lose control of my shape shifting, I'm like, oh, what just happened there? Yeah.
Yeah, we have these filters in place to kind of keep you looking normal.
So,
Not working very well
so-
for me, but I'm glad it's working for you.
oh, Tom, you're adorable. You know that. Let's talk about the ship, because, I could take up the whole show talking about the medical lab, because, that's my passion. But let's talk about the ship, because there's the library, there's the media room, there's the dining hall, which is really like a dining room, because it's not a big ship, right? How
I
big
think
is
we
it?
were talking about this particular class of ship is probably about 300 feet in diameter, so that it's got enough room for everybody and all the different things that we're going to be doing. You're probably going to want to have, everybody's got their own individual stateroom, your own place. Each room's probably got a replicator. Each room has, your bed and your bath and your desk and a place to call your own. And then you've probably got a little gym room of some kind with a treadmill and all the different stuff, some weights and stuff you can work out. You're going to want, and I think on this kind of ship, if you're going to do a treadmill, you want the treadmill towards the windows so you can kind of
Oh.
see out while you're on the treadmill.
Absolutely.
Because treadmills are so boring. I hate being on treadmills. So if you're going to be on
Definitely.
a treadmill, yeah.
Definitely put it by the
Of course.
window.
And of course, we do have artificial gravity, so when you exercise, you get the full effect of it. Not like the old space station where you really can't exercise much at all, except unless you are tied down with bungees to the floor, then you can use something similar to a treadmill. But here, with that artificial gravity, everything is just like it would be on the ground on Earth.
I wonder if you could tweak it, though. If you could tweak it for a little more intensity in your own stateroom, would be kind of cool. Maybe make it a little heavier, and then you got to work a little harder. It'd be kind of cool.
So instead of lifting heavier weights, you tweak the gravity.
Yeah, you got a little thing in your hand. It may not be any bigger than a coffee cup, but you just turn the weight up on it, and it becomes heavier, and you get more resistance. So, yeah.
That's cool. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So, Aage, do you have all of your records ready?
Thanks, and we can associate with something, so maybe it can help us to deal with the different situations that we run into. And especially when we go into uncharted territories, like we are doing this time.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we run into uncharted things, and some of them things are alive, and we got to deal with that. And anytime you deal with something alive, it's unpredictable if you've never seen it before.
That's true.
Yeah, so we got a little, we got a kind of, what's it called? A roll with the punches sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we lost Tom.
There he
We
is.
did. Oh, is he back?
That's the weirdest
back.
thing. We lost
We cannot
an interview
hear you,
the other day,
Tomas.
too. You cannot hear me. Okay, so can you hear me now?
You're
You
ta-
lost
Oh,
your voice.
Mike.
See his mouth moving, but his his voice is not following his.
Is that better?
We have no sound on you, Tom.
Oh.
So, I love the technology that we're using, though, Tom. Tom, we don't hear you yet. I love the meetings that we have, right? The mastermind meetings that we have every day in order to intend and to set the quantum field into place for us, so that when we meet with things that are unexpected, that we are prepared, emotionally, spiritually, physically, to deal with them. Still can't hear you, Tom.
You cannot hear me at all? Test.
Yeah, so
Actually,
Tom, everybody who's just listening, Tom's mouth is moving and we have no sound.
Well, it shows that it's going out to OBS. It shows it's going out to the network, so they can hear me.
This will be okay for all the lip readers out there, but for the rest of us, it's just don't do it.
It's not working.
That's the weirdest thing.
No, he's we're having technical difficulty today.
Well, no, they can hear me on YouTube.
It almost feels like Mercury went retrograde.
It must be.
Can't
weird.
hear you yet, Tom. Like things, and I know the eclipse was yesterday, the partial eclipse. So I'm wondering if that was some of what's been playing in technology and the flow of things. Have you noticed anything like that, Aage?
No, I haven't seen anything like that. Things have been good here, so I'm not worried about that. It's gonna all straighten out when when Tom will be done trying to have us practice lip reading.
You guys can't hear me. I can hear you.
He's nodding. Yes. Can't hear you yet. So a big shout out to everybody in the chat room. I can't see you, but Nancy, if you're there, thank you as always. Thunder from Helidium Labs. Maybe Dr. Fantastic is there. Tom's nodding his head yes. So I'm like tapping into my ESP, because on Broadcast Team Alpha this week, we had an amazing interview with Russell Targ. Russell Targ is a brilliant, venerable gentleman who taught the CIA agents how to do remote viewing.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
And he did that for the CIA for 20 years. And they had some phenomenal results. I mean, they were getting to the point where they were walking around the premier's office in the Kremlin.
Yes, so that's like phenomenal.
Yeah, and also other things that they did. Maybe people should run to our website and have a look at that one, because this is a phenomenal interview.
Absolutely, everybody. So we still don't have audio on Tom, but
can you hear me now?
After the show, you can go to broadcastteamalpha.com and look for the interview. It's in 2 parts for Russell Targ, T-A-R-G. It's in 2 parts because we're changing our format a little bit on Broadcast Team Alpha. We used to record the shows and then Tom would heavily produce them because, I mean, his production skills are phenomenal. But we noticed that our timing, that's great. The audience can hear Tom on YouTube, but we can't hear him. Our timing was kind of falling behind. So now we're essentially doing a one-take interview. And however it shakes out with bloopers or mistakes or, funny jokes or not funny jokes, they're just going to go live. So that's why we had a little bit of a faux pas. Daryl saying that the solar flares are affecting us today. That could be true. But Aage, the thing I loved about the interview with Russell Targ is that it takes remote viewing, right? So for people who don't know what remote viewing is, it's a psychic skill. It's a skill of extrasensory perception where you are able to project into another time and place and location and see what's going on. So Russell, as a CIA trainer, takes remote viewing and this very woo-woo aspect of ESP out of the woo-woo realm, easy for me to say, into science.
Yeah.
So I love that because there's a lot of people who would be naysayers, right? That it's spooky, it's witchcraft, it's whatever. And it's not. It's just science. It's the power of what's in our mind if we relax and allow ourselves to explore the recesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing when you talk to people about remote viewing. Usually what you get back the first time is just a blank stare. First of all, they don't know. And after you explain it to them, you still get that blank stare because they don't understand the science behind it. If you have and understand the science behind it, you will understand that this is all within the quantum. And everything that you see around you is part of that soup of creation, which holds the quantum, is there because of the quantum. So you reach in there and you can have a view of what is in the Kremlin. Well, maybe you shouldn't do that, but
yeah, don't do that.
Look at other things.
So maybe the blank stare that they're really giving you, Aage, is, one, right, initially, okay, I don't get this. This is weird. And then two, wait a minute. If people can do remote viewing, are they remote viewing me when I'm in the bath?
Yeah.
Where's the ethics in that? And can you protect yourself from that?
Yeah, you probably can protect yourself fairly well, but on the other hand, remote viewing is not necessarily the advanced stages, yes, but not necessarily a clear picture of what is there. It is more like impressions that you can make drawings from, so you can actually get a conceptual idea of what it is that you're looking at.
I like that. And that's what, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and like Russell was talking about when he was walking around the premier's office in the
the Kremlin, in the Kremlin.
Yeah,
we've got audio. Yeah,
they could actually see the hallway walking down there, and they walked through the door, and they could see the desk with the door behind it. So they were more, actually, this was borderline of an astral travel trip.
Interesting. But okay, and the thing that I love about Russell Targ, besides he's an amazing, fascinating gentleman, is that he cut that remote viewing session short because of his ethics, because of his integrity. He had secret what's it called? The
clearances, yeah.
The clearances, right? He's got like the max security clearances, but he didn't have clearance to go in the Kremlin. So I love that he pulled the plug on that because of integrity, and something that people can do if you think, or if you're worried about, or maybe you don't really care, if you think that remote viewing may be something that you would like to not be part of, you can actually intend for your auric field, for your energetic field, to be opaque to anybody who wants to check in on you. And that's something that you can choose in the morning. You can just imagine this big, cloud around you, right, shaped like an oval, and just imagine zipping it up into a milky color. So anybody who might want to do remote viewing can't really see in on you. So you still do have your privacy. Now, if you go to a friend's house and you're staying for the weekend and they have the security cam on or the Nest on, I can't guarantee that, that's going to work there, right? Oh, mind your manners.
Yeah, well, that's no fun. We're using some of the similar practices here on our trip into space too, because we are looking into the future. We are protecting ourselves, and we are using the abilities that can be drawn from interacting with the quantum. And that goes all as far as the propulsion system of the ship.
Explain that, please.
Let me just talk a little bit about that. Because when you travel to the far reaches of space, that is a lot faster than the speed of light. And as we probably know by now, that Albert Einstein, he wasn't necessarily wrong about what he said, that nothing can go faster than the speed of light, but he didn't know everything. There were things there that he did not understand. He called it spooky action at a distance when he was dealing with the quantum, and he was scared of it. He just really didn't understand that, so he didn't want to deal with it. And that's where we live, in that spooky action at a distance, because now we do understand it and we can travel within it. And technically it is a mind-matter interface propulsion system.
Okay, wait. Mind, matter, Mind matter interface propulsion system.
Yeah. Because
tell me more. This is fascinating.
Yeah. The mind is the navigation system because it has set itself on a spot in space, and we will travel the shortest route to it in the quantum, and when we get there, we pop out of the quantum. And the propulsion system will allow us to bend space so that instead of being from tip of my fingers, you bend the space so they almost touch. So when you're there, you pop across to being there, and that is a very short distance.
So is that what we mean by collapsing time also?
Yes, time is collapsed just along with the space, because they're really one coin, but it's just got two sides to that coin.
That's amazing. So the next time you're in traffic and you want to get things moving, you can create the intention for collapsing time. We hear you now, for collapsing time, and then you can get there like that. We can hear you. Welcome back. So welcome back, Tom. We're going to go to break just as you get here. We love you, but thanks for being here, everybody. This is Broadcast Team Alpha, the Sunday show. We're talking about going intergalactic. And Aage, I love what you just talked about. And if you're just joining us, I highly, highly encourage you and invite you to listen to the replay, because what Aage just talked about, the mind-matter interface propulsion system, is something that you may want to ponder or think heavily about, because it's fascinating.
In fact, when we get back, I'll elaborate a little more on that propulsion system, because it is something that has been around a long time. We just haven't understood it. So let's try to understand it.
I love it. And I love that we're moving into a time where people are more open to understanding this, right? We're in the middle of this planetary alignment that has never been before. We're in the moment of this time that we pretty much, whether you believe it or not, all signed up to be here for. So we're in the moment, we're here in the moment where shift is happening, where expansion is happening, where ascension is happening, if you will. So hang with us. We're going to be back in 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to talk more about that, and we're going to talk about Elysium, the movie. Yeah. Oh my Palladian stars. Tomas, you want to take us into break?
We're ready to rock whenever you guys are. So,
okay.
All right, we'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.
So okay. we think we're on break, but evidently we're on LNM. We don't know if they're having.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You love the new paranormal.
Cultural and otherwise, as well as anything abnormal. So I encourage you to come on and take a trip with me. Are you ready? I
Why subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Late Night in the Midlands covers everything, and through the thousands of expert guests who have joined Michael Vera on his show, come pieces of the big puzzle, which started many years ago. Michael and his guests reveal information dating back to the beginning of time. To this very moment, Michael Vera not only brings you the best guests with the best information, but Michael is not afraid to call out those who are less than honest. You see, in this day and age, we need a radio show we can count on and a radio host we can trust to expose the truth one show at a time. So become a late nighter and subscribe now. Talk radio like no other. Late Night in the Midlands, bringing the truth back to talk radio.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Let me assure you that our priority will remain to ensure stability and security.
In order to ensure the security and continuing
Stability, security for Canadians.
Galactic Empire!
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Attention L&M Radio Network listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the L&M Radio Network by calling 605-562-4203? No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 605-562-4203 to listen to the L&M Radio Network on any phone, anytime, anywhere. The L&M Radio Network is the #1 network in the land.
That's a big statement.
Yes, it is. We have the best host with the best guests and the best information.
I agree with that.
As you should. L&M is surrounded by some of the top names in the business.
Of course.
And now you can take advantage by advertising on our station and or shows or just sponsoring a specific show.
Really?
So go to our website, www.lnmradionetwork.com and see for yourself what we have to offer. And then contact us at sales@lnmradionetwork.com or see our contact info on our website, www.lnmradionetwork.com.
The L&M Radio Network has a subscriber chat room for you, the listener. Come interact with your fellow listeners and like-minded people and talk about the shows in a safe environment, from the paranormal to conspiracies and anything else L&M related. All you have to do is go to the lnmradionetwork.com website and click the official chat page button at the top of the homepage. From there, you can sign up at the cost of a cup of coffee. If you're a late-nighter subscriber, the chat room is absolutely free with your subscription. Terms and conditions apply. Then click connect and you'll be able to log into the chat room. We're here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the chat room is both for Studio A and Studio B. We look forward to seeing you there.
L&M Radio Network, home of great talk and great information.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back. We're here like throwing gang signals to each other, trying to communicate without sound, and nobody's talking. So welcome back, everybody. I just want to say, I was listening to the commercials, Seraphim Hurley. Now, if you guys are only listening to the Sunday show, I really invite you to go to lnmradionetwork.com and check out some of the shows. We have some pretty remarkable hosts. So Seraphim on the commercial just really got my attention because she was talking about how on her show, you're going to talk about things that might even be taboo. And she sounded so seductive. It really got my attention. So I think that people should go and check out. I mean, last night I tuned in. I couldn't sleep. I was out looking at the stars, and I tuned in to a very fascinating show that was talking about somebody who has in their possession skulls that look like they're from the Greys, the Grey Interdimensional. So there's all kinds of amazing shows here at L&M Radio Networks. But you're here with us today, so let's talk more about going intergalactic. It was the Martian Revelation show. Thank you, Daryl. Our producer is like right on it. Tom, do you have audio? Hallelujah.
Oh, that's good.
No, we hear you.
Hang on now. There we go. Now we're on the YouTube and onto the Skype.
Oh, Tomas, thank
Very nice.
God. Very nice.
Yeah, so the second half now we're going to go into our little movie review moment. And it kind of ties in with our going intergalactic moment.
It does.
It does. And Aage, I think you actually had a piece left from last hour you wanted to touch on, so we want to give you that moment. If you want to review.
Okay, I'll make, because this movie review is going to be so interesting, I'll make this one short. Just because that we are, flying a ship where there is mind-matter interface, both propulsion and navigation. And that means it's exactly like the one that back in the 1970s, a large ship crashed in Helgoland Island in the North Sea, in the northern part of the North Sea. And when they got into it, there were no engines, there were no navigation system, there were nothing, just the shell and some crystalline wiring around the whole thing. And this was an alien. I don't think anything on Earth could make this thing. But there was an alien spacecraft that crashed there. But it had no engines in it. And we're doing somewhat similar, because this one with a mind-matter interface, we can do that. And we have, in one way that it was done, there is a substance that has so dense gravity that you can pull the gravity from it, interface with it with your mind, and create a stream going forward into the future because of the directional ability of your focus. And you travel down that stream, and you can go somewhere by collapsing the time and space field, and you can be at your destination in just a matter of minutes, light years away.
Wow.
Amazing. What is that substance? Are you gonna? Is it like a state secret? You can't tell us.
The one that they were using is element 115. Now that has been upgraded, and that is top secret.
It is. So you can't tell us. You'll have to kill us. Okay. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
The reason I can't tell you is because I don't know.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm not even told.
Yeah. But it's fascinating, though. I mean, if we can do that, mind matter, what was it? Mind matter? Interface, propulsion, right? To go to, just to beam yourself out to a different location, a different planet, a different part in the galaxy. Think about what you can do in everyday life if you just think about it. If you just set your intention. If you just set your eyes on where you want to be, right? The end, when you have the end result in mind, then you can collapse time and just get there.
And that, Nori, is one of the things that you're teaching, and you'll be teaching that in a seminar coming up here in January. So
can't keep a secret from Aage.
No, I'm blabbering on you because this is so important. I'll tell you what. Talk about this for 30 seconds, and then we'll get to the movie review, because this is so. I was on one of those. I participated in it, and I learned a lot.
Thanks, Aage. I appreciate it. So it is the easy for me to say. It's the body, mind, spirit, and soul fusion 12-week self-mastery class. So what does that mean? It means that for 12 weeks, we start small. We start wherever you begin, no matter what you think. And then we go into the different aspects of body, mind, spirit, and soul, and what happens when you fuse them. Like this ESP app that I've been using since we interviewed Russell Targ, I'm finding that when I'm relaxed, I get the answer right. I can predict where the picture is. When I'm tense or when I'm guessing, I feel differently. So what this does is it brings you back in touch, back into alignment. When we arrive on the planet, we are in alignment, body, mind, spirit, and soul. And then things happen that pull us out of alignment. So this is going back to where we have always meant to be, and that's where everything happens. So if you want to create a different body, you want to create a different health, you want to create a different lifestyle, you want to create different money for yourself, it can all happen within the 12 weeks. So thank you so much, Aage. Thank you.
Yeah, that was you had to elaborate on that. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Can we talk about Elysium?
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my stars. The best movie ever. Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. Who else?
Oh, you had
amazing
a whole cast of characters. I mean, it was a bunch of big names in that movie.
So Matt Damon is, of course, the lead character, and then Jodie Foster, Charlton Copley. He played Kruger. He was a disposed agent. Alice Braga was the nurse. Love nurses. Shouties to nurses. Diego was Spider, and those are like the main players, right? So the movie starts out with a bunch of kids on Earth, with a bunch of people on Earth. And Earth is dry, broken down buildings. Everything is gray. There's no trees. There's no birds. It's pretty much looking pretty destroyed. Is that a fair assessment, Tom?
Yeah. What was the year on that in the future?
I think was it 2145?
It was 2145, yeah.
And see, this is where I have issues with modern science fiction. As much as I loved this movie, this is a common theme now of a dystopian future. But actually, based on present trends, it probably could be, that's how a lot of these writers think, based on where things are going, where you have the elites living in this orbiting space station away from the, quote, rabble on the ground who are left to kind of fend for themselves. They all have these wonderful med beds up there on the space station. And that is the one thing that everybody is after, getting a ticket to the station so they can get on a med bed. And
yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to go on a med bed? Because, I mean, we've got them on the ship. I mean, Tom, we recreated your leg during that last mission.
There you go.
Right,
exactly.
And then we had to put Aage back together after he fell in that volcano thing with that I still don't even know what that creature was. So the movie starts out on dystopian Earth, and there's a bunch of kids, and there's Matt Damon when he was a little boy, and they appear to have been like in an orphanage kind of setting. And when they would look up at where all the rich and elite people would live, it kind of looked like, I don't know, it almost looked like a peace sign symbol at times. It looked like a Mercedes-Benz logo. It looked like a star with a circle around it. And that's where the people that were healthy, not necessarily happy, most of them were happy, people were healthy. You never get sick and you never get old there because of the med beds. And what was his name in the movie? Max,
yeah.
So Matt Damon was Max. He's grown up. Matt Damon was an ex-con. He had an ankle bracelet on so they could keep track of him.
He's on parole, yeah.
He's on parole, and he's washing his face, right? And he's got all these tattoos, and he looked pretty good. He's in pretty good shape from a nursing perspective. Strictly from a nursing perspective. And he flashes back to when he's a little boy with the nurse who became a nurse, and her name is Frey. And they're looking at a picture book together, right, of giraffes and gorillas, and he's shaking his head no, and Frey's shaking her head going, yes, that really happened. Yes, that really does exist. And then they would point up, and then they had another book that it was like a secret stash. When they would get into the orphanage at night that was lit by candles, they had a little flashlight, and they were going through the book, and they were talking about how the androids serve you on Elysium 24 hours a day, and how you never get old and how you never get sick. And at that moment, Matt Damon, Max, promised Frey to take her there one day. And so Frey wrote on his hand M and F and drew a circle above it and said forever. So Max and Frey forever. So of course, this is a little bit of weaving into a love story, right?
It fits and it actually fits a kind of a law of attraction moment that they wind up there. And they do get there, but how they get there is probably nothing what they imagined, which is another lesson in itself, that a lot of times life turns out we wind up in that place, but getting there was nothing like what we predicted would be. You know?
Right, yeah. Right. So Matt Damon's getting ready to go to work, and he's working on this, he's working on the line that creates androids, right, or creates machines
in the factory, right? Yeah, right,
in the factory, and it's a crazy, super advanced setting. You go to get on the subway, and it's like, okay, no weapons are detected. You may enter, and of course, his boss is really not nice. But in the meantime, before he goes to work, he's in line waiting for the bus. This is in Los Angeles. And the robo-cops come up to him because they sensed his bracelet, his ankle bracelet, and they rough him up. He's got no hair. His head is shaved. And they're like, what's in the bag? And he goes, pretty much hair products, right? So the robots got
jokes, right? No jokes,
Right? They didn't like it.
They have no humor.
Yeah, no humor. I thought.
And they wind up giving him extra. They extend his probation for clowning around like that.
Exactly. So they throw him on the ground. They step on his arm, right? And as a nurse, I'm telling you, the way that his arm bent made my knees weak. I mean, there's very little things as a nurse that made my knees weak, but when a bone goes the wrong way, so that was very realistic. He fractured his arm, and he had to go to the hospital, right? So here comes the love story. He goes to the hospital to get his arm braced or casted, and who's there?
His childhood friend. Yeah.
Frey is there.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, you're a nurse, you made it. And she's like, are you still stealing cars? No, I'm staying out of trouble.
Right.
But he talks her into meeting for coffee because she had been on Elysium, or she'd been somewhere because she just came back.
Yeah. So she knew how all that stuff worked.
Right.
That is, and it really, there's this other subtle lesson about how, that's the one thing that we seem to really be leaving behind a lot of people in healthcare in our world.
Seriously.
It's becoming more and more expensive. It's becoming more and more difficult instead of becoming better. We have great healthcare. We have great technology that could help a lot of people, but now it's becoming this giant pay-per-view moment that people, you're hearing about people that are dying because they can't get their meds and stuff like that. And this, I guess, is an extension of some of that into a larger lesson of, well, what kind of future are we heading towards? Is it just going to be the elites that are enjoying clean air? Remember the boss that was of his factory was kind of like, don't breathe on me when he was talking to people. Do this when you're talking to them. Just don't breathe on me. And it was so rude. It was such a rude, cruel world. It was a very cruel world down on Earth.
It was, but I find it really interesting and intriguing that they did make healthcare, or health and well-being, the carrot, right, dangling, because it wasn't about cars, it wasn't about money, it wasn't about being size 6, it was about your well-being. It was about living, and everything and everybody on Earth looked pretty dusty and filmy, and like they need a bath. So the people that were on Elysium, the ones that were the main players, like the Secretary of Defense, who was Jodie Foster, they were pretty snooty, right? They were pretty snooty, and they were pretty judgmental, and they found people on Earth to be, kind of scummy and didn't want them there. And then there was Spider, who ran the center for illegal shuttles, right, to Elysium, and I loved him. So he was dirty. He needed a shower, right? He had a wife beater on. He walked with a cane, right? So he needed a med bed. Everybody pretty much needed a med bed. But he was doing black market shuttles to Elysium.
Right.
Right. And they showed. Sorry?
Some of them made it and some of them didn't.
Right. So, and you can't help but notice the young Latino girl who had the crutches with her mom, because they got scanned, right? They laser an identification on you, and that's like your fake citizenship for Elysium, and then that's the only way you could get into a med bed. If you tried to get in without it, the med bed would not work because it's only for citizens of Elysium. So the mom picks her up and carries her into the shuttle, and 3 shuttles went out at that time. 2 didn't make it. The 3rd one made it, and the mom was able to get the little girl. They broke into somebody's mansion and put her in the med bed, and they noted, multiple fractures in her legs and in her body, and the med bed just kind of scanned over her, like a light scanned over her twice, arced over her, and bam, she was healed. That was amazing. That was amazing. And Jodie Foster, right? She's drinking tea. Oh, wait. So on Earth, everybody speaks Spanish. On Elysium, everybody speaks French. Like, really? Wait.
I hadn't really paid attention to that. It's interesting. Yeah.
Right? It was interesting.
Yeah.
And there's Jodie Foster in her white suit, right? Being snooty, and underneath it all, you think that everything should be perfect there. Underneath it all, Jodie wants to overthrow the president.
Right, and this guy that Matt Damon's working for in the factory, he's being bribed with a 200-year defense contract. So if you think about it, this is another one of those little subtle interplays about how this technology changes things, because if you can keep getting repaired, they were evidently getting 200 years out of their bodies up on Elysium.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
I see another challenge there that will eventually become the challenge of Earth, so to speak, because 20 years ago, maybe around 1990 or actually before that, there was a movie that came out called RoboCop. That gave us the first taste of what an android could do and be.
Well, that was a cyborg, too.
Yeah. And now the androids are here. In fact, they are being sold right now in Japan. You can buy a maid that is an android. And here on Elysium, everything is run by androids. All people have to do is to sit back, put their feet on the table, and enjoy themselves. And on Earth, of course, the androids are the enforcing police officer that subdues everything and everybody. And this has got to be changed, because if there are no rules about the mentality of an android, then there's going to be problems. So we got to think about that.
Yeah, so this isn't about the movie, but I did see some news, and I think it was real news, where they did have a little mishap in Japan, where an android killed like 26 people. Did you hear that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like old news. But so the androids were amazing, and Matt Damon is in the factory, and his one of the pallets got stuck in the radiation booth, and his boss, who was just a creeper, said, just go in there and fix it. And Matt's like, no. He's like, you better go in there, otherwise you're not going to have a job. So Matt Damon goes in there and gets a full lethal dose of radiation.
He takes a major hit, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was a really hard scene to watch.
It was.
I thought, and you told me it wasn't going to be a happy ending, so I'm sitting there going, oh my God, please don't let him die. But he gets extracted. They pull him out, and now, he goes to the medical facility in the plant, which is just this dirty room, and he's on a stretcher, and there's an android tending to him, and the android sticks a piece of paper in his face and goes, sign the paper for medications. So he signs the paper, and the the android drops medications on top of him and said, here's 5 days of medications. It'll keep you functioning normal until your death in 5 days. So now Matt Damon wants to get to a med bed.
It's so coarse. It's such a coarse reality that kind of news is not being delivered by a human professional or human healthcare professional. And then his boss was more concerned about how doesn't their flesh fall off after heavy radiation? We don't want to mess up the room. So there was this complete disdain for the people of Earth that they really communicated well this elitism that was going on with this elite society, that we were just wastoids down here to be swept away, or just a problem that has to be managed.
Right, and you know, not just that, but we're going to make sure that you get swept away because we're not going to give you any medical care. Here's your meds. You got 5 days. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you, buddy. Yeah, that was it.
Right. So now he's motivated to go to get a med bed, and who does he go see but his friend who he had dealings with in the past that resulted in him going to prison for 3 years, and that's Spider. So Spider's the guy who ran the black shuttle market to Elysium.
Yeah, this is a whole underground economy, and they wind up sending up 3 ships for people. They would run these raids, so you would basically break security and run these raids to get people up there, get them to crash into somebody's mansion, find a med bed, and hopefully you get in before you get arrested and sent back to Earth. And in this particular instance, Jodie Foster's kind of like had enough of all of it, of these people coming up here, and just has them shot down. Yeah. So it was pretty sad to think of this entire society that had evolved to that. And really, we're only looking at, 120 years into the future. I just hope that we wake up looking at these little lessons like this. We wake up and stop seeing each other in these classes of creating others instead of seeing ourselves in the oneness. Like we were talking with Russell Targ about that. It was interesting because here's a guy that had come through this whole CIA thing and had gotten kind of this revelation of the oneness. He talked about that. Here's a guy that became a Buddhist who was involved in these remote viewing. And so I hope that the rest of society gets that revelation of the oneness, that it's not us against them, that we're all actually, I mean, we could, I guess, evolve to this. It was interesting to see some of the future tech. I just hope that people get a wake-up call and say, okay, do we really want to evolve to this?
Right, exactly. And I don't want to do a spoiler, but it is a happy ending. It's a bittersweet happy ending. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. We'll give you a week to think to check out the movie. But the technology was amazing. So the rogue agent, right, Kruger, his name should be Kruger, right? He's part cyborg because they put an exoskeleton into him. He is evil funny, right? He's sarcastic evil. And he threw, like, one thing that stayed with me was where he threw like the ninja star at that guy and hit him in the chest. So here you see this guy taking a hit in his chest, and Kruger goes, "Oh, you got hit, did you? It's just a flesh wound." Then boom, the technology, right? That technology in the star just exploded him. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this just happened.
A little Sam Peckinpah moment. Well, you know, we're coming down to our last minute. Real quick, a couple of new sci-fi franchises have opened up now this year that were dormant for a while. They were filming new episodes. So we'll be talking about The Orville and about Star Trek Discovery. There's been some interim episodes for Star Trek Discovery that have some great little lesson moments, life lesson moments in them. So we'll hit those next week. There's a lot of great sci-fi coming back online now, so there's lots to talk about coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
And the part that I loved about the movie that was so moving is that it brings to light the possibilities of what could happen if mankind were all in unity with each other. And I just, whatever that means for each of us this week, I mean, I challenge us, I challenge myself to, drop my judgmental laser beam that I put out there when I see something that's different or unusual or something that's not, familiar to me. So, I mean, even if each of us do just like a quarter of an inch of that this week, we are contributing to the well-being of like the whole universe, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yay!
Well, science fiction is our moment of imagineering and imagination about what could be or what may happen if we don't. The old saying, we're going to hell if we don't change our ways. Well, this is a picture of that. And I think what makes it interesting is it's like not that far removed from our current world. This is what could happen. And instead of it being reserved for elites, imagine if that thing, that Elysium, was what we took into space with us. Mm-hmm. And that was your living environment. That was your world out in space, going somewhere, instead of just a home for elites while the rest of the planet is going to hell. That's what you boarded and went into space. That, to me, would be totally cool.
I love that. I love that. So I need to get fitted for my spacesuit. But the shift, right? You said if we don't change our ways, we're going to go to hell. So the shift that we're moving into is, instead of going, if you don't do this, here's what's going to happen. The shift is focusing on the end result and then allowing that to take shape around you. Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. This was so much fun. This was so much fun. I'm all chips in, too.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see everybody next week. We are Broadcast Team Alpha Sunday show. Tom?
BroadcastTeamAlpha.com. Come out and check out the website. It's got the videos, more information about whatever it is we're doing. All of our videos are out there, interviews. Check out the interviews. We've got some good stuff out there. We've got some more stuff coming. We've got a great guest coming middle of January we're going to be talking to, so I'll hide that until we get a little closer to that. So we've got some good stuff coming up in 2019. I'm excited. So
me too.
And we keep doing what we know how to do in order to get things to become better for the future. So here we go.
Here we go. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.